welcome back again. So we are here in conversation with Krupa and Akhil, part two of the conversation, the relationship roadmap. So we'll continue the conversation on healthy relationship and problems in relationship. One thing now coming to a very serious point, because since we met through couples counseling sessions and that was how you came to know me and everything. So it's, let's say there was some problems that you faced and you felt that you need to consult for that and you need to work on it. First of all, kudos to that. But like, because after having such a healthy relationship, all the green flags, if people are watching, they would say there are very, like, a lot of green flags.
Yes.
This couple cannot have problems. So now I really like want you to just say that what came in between that problem started, or what actually went missing in these green flags that it led to some of the issues that created that communication gap, if you're comfortable.
Yeah, definitely. So I think it all started majorly pre-marriage when the discussions seriously started happening between the families.
Hmm.
कि ठीक है मतलब now this is 6 months 8 months to go and kind of so then he shifted to Jaipur right around that time. So in Bombay what happened was when he used to return from office, we never spoke the whole day. We never texted each other. It was just 45 minutes of time, Bombay traffic. So we got 45 minutes of our time, which we just devoted to each other. Like I knew by 7:45, 8, I'm not gonna go anywhere because he's gonna get free, and he knew that he has to leave office because I'm waiting for his call. So that was a very quality time that we were talking and doing things. And then when he shifted to Jaipur, that kind of lost because here he was staying in a joint family. So for him, there was a huge change as well. And by the time he shifted, like my in-laws were still in Bombay. So him coming to Jaipur all alone and trying to manage things on his own kind of was very stressful for him as well. But then I was also going through stressful times about getting married and managing things and everything. So there was a clash at that time. But then initially after marriage also things got better because it was the first time we were actually living together for a very long time. So it was new and good, but then again,
So
same thing.
just to clear that up, that you guys were in a long distance relationship,
yes.
and earlier you felt more closer,
Huh.
even being in the long
Yes,
distance
yes.
relationship, and you used to have 45 minutes call every day,
Every day.
summing up the whole day and
Yes.
talking to each other. That
Yes.
was more like a good communication.
Right.
But later on, some things happen. Yeah, please continue. Then you were saying.
So the long distance was so comfortable. I was actually scared of how am I going to like how am I supposed to live with this person because we were always used to having our own personal space. तुम्हारा space है, मेरा space है. This time we have that is just ours. Now spending 24/7 being around this one person I've never been around was a challenge. So because when you meet for a very short time, it's more like you show the best version of yourself.
Right.
And then when you actually start living together, you find out those annoying things as well.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a very major thing, but then there were little things. And then for me, shifting to a different culture house and then coming from a nuclear family, settling in a joint family, even though I was prepared for it, but still it was a very big change. And that was the time there were a lot of misunderstandings and communication gaps that started happening because I was also not able to clearly explain or communicate what I was going through because it was weird for me as well to figure out what was happening. Like you said, losing the identity. So I was so much involved in the other roles that I was playing in the household that I forgot who I was. And he kind of got affected as well because he realized I'm not me. So both of us were trying to figure out ki, we met somebody like before marriage we knew someone else, and then right now we are with somebody who we don't know. So that
Okay.
was a very different thing because there was a stranger in him, there was a stranger in me, and we were not able to understand where did this pop up from. But then over the time we are understanding. So therapy also, I was always open to therapy because I take it really supportively that no, this has to be there. The stigma is not real. I mean, it is real and we have to get over it.
Yes.
So I am a very strong advocate for therapies and all. But when I told him that it's not just me. Like right now,
Hmm.
it's not an individual process. And then you also recommended that it's good if we come as a couple, because it's not a solo person's job.
Right.
It
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
coordinated effort kind of thing.
Because the problem was in the relationship
Yes.
communication and it was somehow affecting you
Yes.
personally and both of you exactly, but the individual counseling was not working out. So yeah, you realized that there was a gap, and that was what I said, the kudos to you that you realized it and you were ready to fill it up ki kuch to problem hai and we need to address it.
Right.
So coming to therapy, when she told you about like let's go for therapy and everything, or how did you decide and how did you come to the point that okay, it's okay to go for couples counseling?
And I think everybody would agree on the fact that uh, if two people are into a relationship and if they are going through some problems, uh, they would definitely ask for advice through their friends,
Right.
and that friend would examine and look at the situation from a third person's perspective, and he would give an advice which is probably non-biased. First of all, they'll approach that kind of friend,
Right,
okay,
right.
and that unbiased opinion or unbiased approach towards the problem uh, would help the couple out, right?
Hmm.
This was probably my thinking of going through a couples therapy or a
Hmm.
couples session, that if uh, a non-biased person or a person who has an expertise into this thing, we can definitely go together and tell, okay, this is what is going wrong in our
Hmm.
relationship, and how do we sort it out.
Hmm.
So that is how.
So taking it so lightly, I think that makes more sense
Yes.
in counseling, because you come with the notion that talking to a stranger, how it is going to help us, and we know our relationship better, how third person is going to navigate that for us, and having that clearer idea that someone will be coming from a very non-biased front,
Mm.
giving each other like that space and something helping us figure out the problem. So since you came and everything, like if you can just give me few, so that it clears the doubts of the people who will watch this, that who are thinking of going for therapy but somehow they are like taking a back foot ki nahi theek hai khud se hi sort ho jayega, sab ho jayega. So how do you think therapy helped you, like in what ways it helped you?
I think if you very very simply summing it up, if you are falling sick
Hmm.
every now and then, you have to see the doctor, okay. There has to be an expert who knows, okay, this is actually the particular problem.
Hmm.
You are having a headache because of some other issue in your body which you might probably not know.
Right.
Yeah, because he or she is an expert who will
Hmm.
tell you, okay, this is actually the problem,
Hmm.
they we need to resolve this particular problem. That's how your headache will go, or probably any other disease for that matter.
Right.
Similarly, in this situation, I think if if a couple keeps going through problems every now and then, they will think, okay, this is the particular reason, or maybe she's not giving time, or maybe he's busy with something else. हो सकता है कि actually वो issue हो ही ना. So
Hmm.
that is why I'm talking about, like, the third person's opinion matters a lot. That
Hmm.
is why I think counseling,
Hmm.
every couple
Hmm.
who has that kind of
Hmm.
thinking, okay, should we take it, should we not take it,
Hmm.
I think they should come and they should try it out and
Hmm.
see the difference,
Hmm.
uh, what happens after
Hmm.
that session. Yeah,
Hmm.
one session, two session, three session, whatever.
Hmm.
So that
At
is how
least
I
take an
think.
experience and see
At
how
least
it
take an
goes.
experience, yeah.
Yeah.
Because वैसे तो कुछ ठीक हो नहीं रहा ना,
हाँ.
but ये try कर लो फिर.
Wonderful. So, Krupa, you said very rightly, it stuck with me that there's a stranger in me and there's a stranger in him. And so, when you came to the therapy, so how now this is navigating for you?
So basically, therapy was why what I feel majorly is that uh, somewhere you know कि हाँ मतलब there is something wrong, but you actually don't know what is wrong. To find out that root cause. And I don't actually rely on a lot of people, like family and friends, for a very strong, like ठीक है एक बार के लिए आपको शेयर करना है आपने किसी को बता दिया,
Right.
but I don't depend on them for an advice or suggestion, because it comes from a very emotional angle. and the tools and resources that you have or a counselor has is unmatchable. Nobody else can have it,
Right.
because you have spent years studying and researching
Yes,
on. And when
definitely.
people tell me mental health is not real, that's my answer. Why do you think people waste? Do you think people just waste their life studying psychology? In that case, it is just what? It's a foolish thing to do then if it doesn't exist in
Right,
reality.
right.
So that stranger and me and him, kind of, it was somewhere, it was a very vague thing. कि हाँ मतलब I'm not comfortable around this areas, but why am I not comfortable, and why did I not know about this in the last 3 or 4 years? So that kind of eventually broke down कि ठीक है, there were these things, there is a process of evolution, there are a lot of things you can never know a person 100% because we keep on changing.
Right, right.
Situations and circumstances, everything keeps on adding to our thought process and whatever else. So that way, for me, when there was a communication gap, it was at that time when I found a stranger in him, because I thought he's not understanding what I'm trying to say, and this never happened earlier.
Okay.
But then earlier there were no complex topics that were now. That was
Right.
one thing that I now realize कि पहले ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा क्या, you didn't call me on time, or we didn't talk for a day, or somebody told me this, somebody told me that. It were very individual problems. Now that we were talking about were complex problems, and it was related to both of us as a couple, not individually. So I think both of us didn't know how to deal with it because we were never in that situation.
Right.
So that
So I
way
think the
it happened.
transition was difficult because
Yes.
coming from a long distance relationship, then getting married, then two different cultures,
Right.
and probably shifting from Mumbai to here, I think there were many
Many
transitions
challenges,
happening for
yes.
you. Then, like leaving a job, starting a job again, being at home, and I think these transitions are, we see कि ठीक है सबके साथ होता है,
हाँ.
कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है, but they actually take a toll on you, and they actually take a toll on the relationship, I guess. And these things need to be addressed on time, otherwise they convert into major gaps, major communication gaps. One thing again you pointed out very rightly is that you get to know each other because you evolve with time, you change. And that's what I keep on telling in couples counseling as well, that you need to keep updating about each other, what is happening, how are you feeling right now, who are your friends, what is happening in your life, what are your aspirations, what is changing. And I think that keeps on changing within few years, and you need to be connected with each other by knowing all these things. I think that makes sense.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does, because this is what we keep on talking, that I guess the first foundation that we had set for our relationship was always that I don't have to think twice or mince my words if I have to talk to him. And I expected the same from him, that I wanted to give that space ki jahan pe you don't have to think ki what if she feels bad about it. Not that you cross those lines, but even if there's a feedback, you don't shy away from that feedback. Ki you don't try to hide it under the carpet saying ki are what if it's not acknowledged properly. This is something we talk even now, that as a couple we feel that if you're not bluntly honest with your partner, I don't think you can ever be with somebody else. Like that is one wo hota hai na ki there is a certain thing that is only limited to a couple. You cannot share it with everybody else.
Right.
Something that only I know about him, and there's a lot of things that only he knows about me, and people would not even believe if I said things about him that I know. So it is like that, but that only happens when there's a lot of transparency and honesty. So वो बीच वाला phase was that only कि communication gap happened because there was this thing कि अच्छा if I tell him he might get offended, because then somewhere it was related to the fusion of the cultures and how for me it was different, and because it is not as different, he didn't have to leave the home.
House.
And I'm going to tell you this for the rest of our lives, but it's
course,
okay.
of course.
So yeah, it is difficult, I know, but then it's like the only reason I felt was now that I don't have any family and friend in Jaipur, so it was always that what if I'm feeling bad, where am I supposed to go? You can always go, not that I cannot go to your parents, but that comfort, it comes with time.
Right.
So
Agreed.
for those initial few months, it was always this problem ki if I can't tell him, if I can't tell at home, then where am I supposed to
There's
go?
no other person.
There's no other outlet.
Yeah, so it's basically staying
Yes.
with you, and somehow
And
it is
that is
affecting.
when I realized that
Hmm.
before this starts taking a reverse or U-turn, I
Hmm.
need to,
Hmm.
the outlet has to be a productive outlet.
Right.
So, which is why we landed here.
But I am glad that you came, and it worked out very well, I guess.
Yes, it
So
is.
we talked about like the relationship thing, and I think there are a lot many things you have pointed out which are like really important to understand in a relationship, that if you say you know your partner, it's not like that. You will have to keep knowing them.
Yes.
It's a process. You cannot just leave the relationship on auto mode and be okay, ha bhai chal raha hai. They will keep on moving because we have now got married and everything is fine. So, but I think there are certain boundaries that couples also need to have with other people or in the family and something like that, as we talked in our sessions as well. So, what do you think? What you suggest to people, that what boundaries or what type of things that you need to focus on when you are in a committed, in a married relationship, or certain boundaries, if you would like to highlight, you need to make for yourself so that you can create that V space
Correct.
to grow together as a team?
I think every family is different,
Hmm.
uh, and probably the set of rules or regulations which they have
Hmm.
is it varies from like family to family.
Hmm.
I think a couple needs to set those kind of boundaries in a family where they can have that freedom and that comfort. Okay, for a particular time, I think हम लोग we are going to, for example,
Hmm.
if we want to go out, okay,
Hmm.
and I live in a joint family, like we live in a joint family, so if we want to go out and for a dinner,
Hmm.
I think it is not mandatory to take our cousins and family and
Hmm.
parents, everything, like everyone out every time we
Every
go,
time.
every time we
Yeah.
go out, yeah,
Yeah.
because I think वो जो the thing which you pointed out earlier,
Hmm.
that you need to uh, keep knowing your partner,
Hmm.
and if you're not setting those kind of boundaries within the family or in social situations,
Hmm.
it becomes very difficult to know each other.
Right.
So I think this is
हाँ.
we're still developing that because
Hmm.
it takes a lot of time.
Hmm.
एकदम
Don't have
ऐसे नहीं
prior
हो जाता,
experience
हाँ,
in this.
prior experience नहीं है,
Exactly.
Have
and
Exactly.
prior
Because
experience,
we go
like
with the notion that we know everything, but we
हाँ,
don't know how to navigate
yeah,
it with the
no,
other people around.
it's
it
And
trying
is
to,
never taught, and I don't think it's a very fixed set of learning,
hmm.
because it it's a very what,
Yeah, see, because he rightly pointed out every
हाँ,
family is unique.
yeah,
So
exactly,
it is not some general idea you
general
can teach
idea,
yeah,
yes,
anyone.
correct, it's not a very general
hmm,
idea कि मतलब ये
Hmm.
सिखा दिया तो
Hmm.
ऐसे.
हाँ, सब.
Even cooking, what people feel कि लड़कियों को cooking सिखा दो so that before they
Hmm.
get married, but then that, even though I knew cooking since
Hmm.
I was in sixth standard, because it
Hmm.
was always like कि मतलब
Hmm.
not that you are going to get married, but because you should know it
No.
as a life skill.
Hmm.
And it's really commendable that these two brothers, so they are two brothers and both of them
Hmm.
know really good cooking,
Hmm.
and they were taught not as a gender role but
Hmm.
as a
basic
lifesaver,
life skill.
a basic life skill.
Hmm.
So that way, so what I was saying is कि
Hmm.
even these little things कि that also is not fixed कि
Hmm.
तुमने ये बनाना सीख लिया तो you can go and make the same thing over there, because
Right.
Hmm.
taste palette is again different.
Very, very right. Very right.
So ऐसा there is nothing fixed set of
Hmm.
rules, but then ठीक है,
Yeah.
you just understand, you trial and error basis
Yeah, so
basically.
that's basic thing, because you teach the basic skills, the
हाँ.
survival skills and everything. And I think that people, especially in Indian society, we have certain notions कि लड़कों को ये आना चाहिए, लड़कियों को ये आना चाहिए and all that, and it's still going on. Though things are changing as we are progressing, but I think the basics are still the same. But nobody is teaching us that how to adjust, accommodate, because you need to change yourself a little bit, but you also need to change the environment around you a little bit.
Correct,
So if you need to grow with the family, you also need to grow as a team.
correct,
And I think these two processes need to happen parallelly, and these two boundaries are required, that there are boundaries with the family members as well, and then there are boundaries with each other as well, that as you said, that we took our like separate times where it
Huh.
is me time, and then a we time where you're spending time
Mm.
together. And these little boundaries somehow help you to progress through the relationship. So yeah, and I think you're working wonderfully with that. Slowly and steadily things are happening, and I see that improvement. You also are progressing, so really glad. So coming to the last point of today's conversation, how
Mm.
have been your experience with counselor's chair here?
So first.
I will. I'm waiting for my turn so that I can just start and speak endlessly. It has been great.
Hmm.
So I remember, and I'll still tell you
Hmm.
that it was really long back that I watched Dear Zindagi, and
Hmm.
I always was like, oh, I need a therapist like Dr. Jahangir Khan. And I still remember the moment I walked in that room, my first reaction, oh, I got the same setup. I got my Dr. Jahangir Khan. So in the female versions, I got my Dr. Harshika. So I was
Oh God.
really happy about it.
Hmm.
And this was that safe space that I was looking for in Jaipur, but I was not able to find it.
Hmm.
Like away from the home safe space where I can just come, talk, cry, smile, laugh, do whatever I want, where I know I won't be judged for
Hmm.
anything that I'm going to
Hmm.
do. So that way, it has brought a lot of confidence and strength. And again,
Hmm.
the tools and resources that I knew there was a problem, but how do you deal with that
Right.
problem? So that is what I'm learning here,
Hmm.
and that is what I'll keep on learning from here. कि ठीक है, मतलब problems तो आती रहेंगी, but how
Hmm.
do you deal with it actually?
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It meant a lot. Akhil, do you have anything?
Yeah, I think first of all, I was surprised that Jaipur mein you can get these kind of therapies because honestly, I didn't know. And I think uh, जो relationship long lasting चलाने के लिए it becomes very important that you actually know that you first of all you have to accept that okay there is something wrong. That
Hmm.
is the basic thing
Hmm.
that a couple should understand,
Hmm.
and if they agree upon
Hmm.
that thing,
Hmm.
they can also agree okay if we take an opinion of the third person,
Hmm.
which I already mentioned. uh, it gives a lot of insight on their relationship,
Hmm.
and if you have an insight of a problem it becomes very easy to find the solution. And I think you as a counselor have done a great job
Thank
in pointing out things which I didn't even realize okay this could be the problem,
you.
and uh, this is how I'm going to deal with it.
Hmm.
uh, यहाँ पे मेरे लिए I think it's a wonderful space. It's a very safe space, as she already mentioned, that you can share your thoughts. You can cry, you can laugh, you can do all sorts of things. I think yeah, it's a kudos to you that we are
Thank
still
you.
going. It's very
Hmm.
important for a couple to
Hmm.
understand. Okay, now
Hmm.
they if they come for a
Hmm.
counseling session, things are going to get better, and I think I can vouch for that.
Hey, wonderful. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
such beautiful compliments. Means a lot, I guess. I mean, it is very satisfying to know this, that you have provided that space which was in my mind to create for couples and all the individual counseling we take here. But I'm really thankful, and plus you both are very wonderful people. So
Thank you.
when first I saw you, like, these people are struggling.
I know.
Somehow it needs to get better,
Yes.
because you both were very ready to work on it, and I think
Yeah.
that worked very well for us. When I asked you, that you were mentally prepared, that yeah, we are here to work on this, we are
Yes.
here to make as much as efforts are
I
required.
think one more
Hmm.
point, which that the point which you're
Hmm.
talking, especially in love marriages, people
Hmm.
find it very difficult to manage after marriage.
Hmm.
Okay, once they get married, uh, people should think the kind of efforts they
Hmm.
put before the marriage when they started the relationship, and they should kind of see that इतना efforts हम लोग ने उस time डाला था, and now they are like okay I don't want to continue, I don't want to do this,
Hmm.
this is not working out.
Right.
You forget that आपने उतना
The
effort
whole
उस time पे
journey
डाला
struggle.
था, वो जो journey आपने की है,
Which is why you are here.
which is for every couple it is very difficult in their own way.
Hmm.
So for keeping that to keep that going, it's very important for people to understand, okay, there's something wrong. So
Yes,
that's
yes.
that's what I think helps couples, and you kind of helped us also.
No, that's a wonderful message, Akhil. I think a lot of things you both have shared, and I think people who will hear this, no matter how much audience it reaches out to, I think it's going to work. It's going to strike little pointers which we
Yeah.
miss in the relationship and
Correct.
marriage. So it went really great. Thank you so much for such beautiful suggestions, sharing, and all the personal
Thank you for
experiences.
having us.
Thank you for having us.
Okay,
Thank
for
you,
that,
thank you.
because you made out time for us, we
Oh
have
my
some gift for you.
Oh my
god.
god.
So it's our customized partner box. So it has all the tools and
Oh
everything we use in couples counseling. So it has everything in
wow.
it.
Wow,
So I
thank
would
you
Wow.
so
like to
much.
gift
It's
that to
like
you.
that
Thank you,
coffee
thank
with
you.
currant hamper that you got a hamper here. This
So
is really nice, but
Thank you
thank you
so much.
so
Thank you,
much.
thank you,
you're
thank you,
welcome,
thank
and
you.
thank you so much for making our time. And I'll see you soon, both of
Yes.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for watching. And we'll see you soon. Bye bye.